Hey everyone, my name is Colby Fairbairn, and I am super excited to be running through Zoom and all the different features here today. So getting started, we're going to learn about how Zoom operates. As chapter leaders and chapter members, we find that even when we're apart, Zoom can help us stay connected for chapter events and meetings. And so today we're going to be running through just some of those features and how do we operate Zoom so we can be the most successful for our chapter events. We're going to go ahead and start by setting expectations. Before a Zoom meeting, about 2 to 3 days before, you're going to want to have your Zoom link planned and sent out to everybody in your FFA chapter. Maybe your chapter president or your advisor makes this and sends this out, but it's important for everybody to have access to it before so they're not scrambling 5 minutes before trying to find the link. As officers or people that are running the meeting, it's important for us to be at the meeting room 20 to 30 minutes early in the Zoom ready to go. Then as chapter leaders, when we get closer to the meeting, we can pick and choose who we want in our Zoom meetings. As host or co-host, you have the ability when you go down to the participant feature, and in the waiting room, you'll see people in your waiting room if they're waiting. So you can go ahead and remove people if you don't know them or don't want them in, but you can admit if you want them in the meeting room. Having them come in, they will be ready to have their audio connected and ready to listen. Let's say, for example, that you really want people to have their videos on and ready to connect and learn with people. By doing this, if I were to go down to Jonelle's screen, I would click on the 3 dots and ask her to start video. That way it's a reminder that, hey, let's have our videos on and let's be ready to go. So moving past setting expectations, it's important for us to be presentable as chapter officers. One thing is making sure that our camera is at the right angle. So for example, my camera is really low and is currently tilting up so you can see an angle on my chest and face. So if I were to move my computer up and have it at a better angle, then I could be more presentable and make my points because my camera is level with my eyes and face. So it makes it better if I'm trying to give a presentation or relay important points and I can make hand motions. So for the sake of this meeting, we'll be going in and going back down just so I can talk with you guys a little bit better. But making sure that we are presentable, even though that it is still a meeting, full OD, and if you're not going in OD, make sure we're in a chapter shirt or something that's very presentable and we're not logging onto our Zoom wearing casual clothes. The next is learning how to pin screen. So if one person is talking during a meeting, then you want to go ahead and you want to listen to them. It's important for us to be able to pin screen. So say, for example, that Olivia is making really good points and she's presenting about the next meeting that's next week. So if I were to go to pin screen, I go to the 3 dots again, I would go to pin video. That way, if she were to make points, I could see what she's trying to say. So going back to we talked about unpinning video. There's a lot of features that Zoom runs through. Now what we'll be doing is learning how to use the chat feature. So going down into the chat, you can use the group chat and relay points and ask questions if you need to. So for example, if you're relaying a direction set for a game or you want people in breakout rooms, then go ahead, type any questions. And if they want to not respond, unmute themselves, they can just ask you. You can also message people 1v1 privately. So if I needed to ask Jonelle, hey, I really need you to do this for the meeting, I can go and privately message her and no one else would see. What's also important as host and co-host and chapter leaders is that we can make breakout rooms. So if you want to break up for an activity or you're wanting committees to meet or people to just get to know each other, you can make breakout rooms, which makes it smaller little separate rooms away from everybody else. If you're the host, go down to breakout rooms. Then you can assign participants into 1 or 2 rooms. So I could create the breakout rooms, and there'd be breakout room 1 and 2, and they will be pre-made. You can also specifically make it by moving people into breakout rooms. Move to, etc. Let's say, for example, that I don't want Jonelle and I want Jonelle and Olivia in the same breakout room. I can move Jonelle into breakout room 1, and they could be in the same breakout room. Then I'd open all rooms, have them waiting there, and then I could close them. It takes 60 seconds for the breakout rooms to completely close. So instead of trying to move on, let's wait that minute and play some music or using other opportunities on Zoom instead of making it awkward with a weird 1v1 conversation. Next, we'll be talking about how do we share screen and share music. One thing that we find helpful as state officers is to play music if things are a little awkward or tense and kind of break up the logjam. Two ways we can do that. The first one we can do is pull up our phones. And we can go ahead and play music through our music app. And we could hold that right next to the speaker and have ourselves unmuted. And then we could play music through that. However, sometimes it can be really spotty. So another way that we found effective is we go down to share screen. We go down to advanced, share music or computer sound only. And if I escape here, I could go to one of my favorite songs, and I could play it for the people in it.
Gotta hit the road.
And they can listen to me.
See that around the clock, bikini bottoms, lager tops. I could get you.
Then we just go ahead to stop share. And what you can also do is share screen if you want to share a slideshow of like direction sets or activities or things that are going on in your chapter. So say, for example, I really want to show Lee and Jonelle what's going on with our virtual camp theme. I would go ahead, share screen, go back to basic. Advanced is where you would go to share music or computer sound. Go back to basic and share your slide. I can go ahead and present here as well. And I could show them what we're doing for our virtual camp theme. Now that we've gotten through all of that stuff, so setting expectations, making sure we're being presentable, how to pin screen, how to use the chat feature, how to share sound, how to use breakout rooms, we're lastly just going to briefly talk over some Zoom features. And one of the ones that I find most helpful for getting to know people is going to share video. If you go to the little arrow, you can choose your virtual background. So say, for example, I really wanted to show Olivia and Jonelle this cool little space background. I could do that, and it makes it a little more interactive and fun. You can have people get to know each other better, and it's a fun little way to be more connective and getting to know people better. We find that Zoom has some very helpful features. And Zoom is very important for us as chapter leaders as we continue through our journey as FFA officers. Zoom is helpful for us as we come together even when we're apart. With that, thank you guys for being great participants in my video today. I'm super excited to see you guys shine with your Zoom meetings, and we hope to see you really soon. Thank you.